Hey guys, Johnny here from Ecomx SEO. This is just going to be a quick video to show you some of the results we've been getting with Surfer SEO. If you haven't checked out our free Facebook group, head on down to the link below and you can click on that and join the group, and we'll approve you if you just answer a couple of simple questions. And also subscribe to this video so you can stay updated. There's plenty of good info here and plenty of good info in our Facebook group. Yeah, so we work with mainly Shopify clients and have our own Shopify stores, and we've been testing a lot of the new software. Now, Surfer SEO and Page Optimizer Pro and Quora, they're probably the three leading on-page optimization tools that have sort of come a really long way in the last sort of 1 to 2 years. We've used all of them. Page Optimizer Pros works in a similar fashion to Surfer. Surfer SEO we've only been really using the last sort of 3 or 4 months, and one of the questions I've always had about these type of software that use correlation analysis. So basically the way they work is, and this goes for all of them, they take ranking signals from your competitors online. So with Surfer, for example, you'd come in with a keyword and then let Surfer crawl for that keyword in your location, in your country, or even even a sub-location of a country, and then it'll take the top competitors, analyze them, and then it sort of basically correlates against your own site or your own page, and then it spits back to you optimization elements that you can then go and change on your page, and it makes it really easy. It's not complicated at all, and they keep evolving. Both Page Optimizer Pro, I did another video on that previously, and also Surfer. And yeah, the way it spits out the data makes it very clear. And then using tools like a content editor, when you can actually edit your content or that page in real time and see the changes take effect, and it gives you feedback on whether you're making the correct changes or not. So one of my questions has always been, do these tools work just as well for e-commerce? And while I still don't think they're obviously not built for e-commerce, they're built for broad spectrum site analysis, but the concepts are still the same. So the best way to try is just obviously to test and see whether it works. We've actually been getting some pretty good results for e-commerce stores. I have touched base with the developers of Surfer, and they assure me that everything to do with the tool should work for e-commerce stores just like it does for any other site. You just need to keep a couple of things in mind. Like obviously, if you've got a big collection page and you've got a lot of products on that collection page with similar terms or similar keywords, then obviously potentially you can be over-optimized for that particular term. But the way we look at it also is on the first page of Google for a particular search term, it's not always e-com stores. So you've got blogs, you've got obviously big sites like Amazon, and then you do have some e-com stores. So you need to choose your competitors wisely, and you have that choice when you're working through the tool. And we've tried it both ways, where we just analyze e-commerce stores like ours to try and get a very a non-skewed result. And then we've tried both, where we actually use not only e-com stores as our competitors, but also high authority blogs, for example, and that have a lot more content than what a standard e-com store would have, and try and sort of mix and match to find out what works best. So that trial and error with an e-commerce store is really important, but we're getting results. So, and I'll just show you one result in a second, just a simple example. But just have a look at the tool first up. So you get a 7-day free trial. You can just join up for 7 days and see how you go with it. You don't get all the features, but then if we just go to the pricing, it's not super expensive. Any of these tools are gonna, there are gonna obviously be a monthly subscription, and it's gonna add up over time. But this is one of those tools. I'm quite happy to pay monthly on this. Certainly the amount of pages that we analyse. I can't remember what plan we're on, but even the basic plan at $59, you get 15 queries a day. You're not going to be doing any more than that anyway, because it does take time still to go through and optimize a page. So unless you've got a really large team, which obviously then you're going to be looking at some of these other pricing categories anyway. They've also brought in Nlp Analysis recently, which is interesting, looking at entities and how they tie into pages that are ranking well. It's got the backlink features as well, which is really cool. So we'll just go through. So SERP Analyzer, this is the one we use mainly for existing pages. So you can essentially, as it says here, you add in your keyword, analyze all your competitors, choose your competitors based on things like word count, traffic going to the store. So you can end up, when you choose your competitors, you can compare your store or your site or page relative to others that are similar. So in most cases, we're not going to try and compete with Amazon, even though you can certainly do well against Amazon. But when we're comparing it to try and get onto the first page, we don't necessarily want to use Amazon as an example, because it's just going to skew the results, and you're not comparing apples with apples. So that's SERP Analyzer is probably the core feature we use. And the content editor, this is really good if you're writing content from scratch, where you basically you use your keywords or your main keywords, and also it does competitor analysis, and it'll basically provide you with a template on how you can actually write that article, and you can write it in real time. You can also send a link with the editor to your writers. So if you've got outsourcers and using writers somewhere else, you can do the process of analysing the correct template, and then you can send that link to your writer, who can then just write it in real time and then spit it back to you. So yeah, that's really cool. It's got a standard keyword research tool, which is pretty good. Now I've got SEO audit as well. They've also now got a Chrome extension. So yeah, it's certainly one of those tools that I highly recommend, and it's certainly worth the cost. So just going to bring over a bit of an example here of how we work with this tool. So here's just an image. It's out of Ahrefs. It's not a highly competitive term, like the keyword difficulty was 0, but 800 searches per month. There's some pretty big stores on page 1. So even though the keyword difficulty says it's 0, there's some pretty authoritative type sites that rank on that page. So, and we know this is a client site, and we know this term is a buyer term. So anyway, we hadn't done anything with this page. It's on Shopify, quite a large store, got many products, and we hadn't even looked at it. And then we started delving into our keyword research a little bit more and identified this is a term that we could go after. And you can see it was ranking around position between 60 and 70. And then on around about the 21st of March of 2020, we used Surfer to optimize it. It took about half an hour. There was already some content there. We had to write a little bit more content, but it didn't take long at all. Maybe an hour tops by the time we ran everything. Optimized the content, made sure the content was published live. It was actually a collection page, a Shopify collection page. And you can see what happened only, 4 or 5 days later. So as soon as it got recrawled, we had this really massive spike, and now it's sort of, middle of page 2, and I'm going to push up to the top of page 2. And we'll just keep working on our off page, and we'll be able to push this to page 1 now, pretty, in a month or 2, I would say. So this is just one example of many that we've got using Surfer for e-commerce. So yeah, highly recommend. I just thought I'd have a bit of a chat about it, because I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it for e-commerce and specifically Shopify. So yeah, so I hope that that helps. Probably going to be talking more about Surfer as we move forward, as we fine tune our methods with using it for e-commerce, because we're still sort of testing and seeing what works best for it. Okay, thanks. See you in the next video.